On Transworld Sport this week, we're in the French Alps with freestyle snowboarder Aurélien Routons.
The Lumberjacks are out in force in England for the Timber Sports World Championships.
We're in hot pursuit to find out more about the World Chase tag scene.
And we head to the waters of southwest Canada for the Coastal Rowing World Championships.
Billed as one of the toughest enduro rallies in the world, the Romaniacs takes place in the heart of the Romanian province of Transylvania. The race is staged over 5 days and sees riders tackle a 600-kilometre course encompassing a variety of terrains. It's a test of skill and technical ability, as well as strength and stamina. The 2018 edition of the Romaniacs saw 500 riders from over 50 countries take part. Amongst those competing this year was two-time event winner Johnny Walker from England.
I have no idea what it takes to put this race on, but from what we have to do with signing on and everything, you know, it takes years. You know, it must have taken him so long to build up such a good race.
2018 marked the 15th anniversary of this event. The old town of Sibiu was completely closed down for the prologue on a course built by Andy Fazekas.
This year's prologue is just like the one we had back in 2004. It's a trademark of Crazy Bike and the Romaniacs, and it ranges from hard to very hard.
100 tons each of stone, wood and tyres turned the town's main boulevard into a difficult, hard enduro prologue course. Englishman Billy Bolt rode the prologue of his life. He finished ahead of South Africa's Wade Young and Germany's Manuel Lettenbichler.
Pretty much got the lead off the line, second last year and one better this year, so yeah, pretty stoked.
The first off-road stage was a tough 219 kilometres in rainy conditions. The ground was wet and slippery, which made it harder than usual. Six-time Romaniacs winner Graham Jarvis found the going tough.
Definitely feeling my age today. Kind of ran out of energy about halfway, but still in there, so got to keep going.
43-year-old Jarvis ended day one in 4th place. The early pace was set by Wade Young. The 22-year-old is the new star of the sport and is considered to be the natural heir to Graham Jarvis.
We just kept it flowing. Manuel was real good on the technical stuff. Still a good day, it was fun, but pretty long.
So after day one, Wade Young led the overall standings, closely followed by Manuel Lettenbichler. Johnny Walker was in 3rd. The weather improved for the second day of action.
Running first. Hopefully nobody's catching me. That's the plan.
Day two developed into a thrilling battle between Wade Young and Manuel Lettenbichler. But when Manuel took a tumble, Wade made his move. Meanwhile, Graham Jarvis once again struggled to keep up with the young guns.
Yeah, I'm just pretty tired, I don't mind admitting it. Normally like the hard bits, but I'm praying for the easy bits at the minute, so just want to get through the day.
Hard enduro is one of the toughest challenges on 2 wheels. It's a step up in intensity from conventional enduro. Young took the Stage 2 win to extend his lead over Lettenbichler to 4 minutes. Johnny Walker was 12 minutes off the top spot in 3rd.
And I'll be so glad when it's over.
Day 3 of the Romaniacs is considered to be the hardest. Sections such as the Loop of Madness have ended many a rider's chances over the years. It was on this stage where Graham Jarvis was expected to take full advantage of his experience and get himself in contention for the lead. But he was forced to retire from this year's event after feeling unwell.
I'm going to have to stop. I don't feel too good.
To actually pull out the race, he broke his heart. He's known for never ever quitting, and it'll have been one of the hardest decisions. I'm sure he was going through some emotions in his helmet when he was deciding not to actually carry on.
As a race organiser, I know that the last downhill he did before retiring was very tough. I can imagine that if he wasn't well, then he certainly wouldn't feel any better after that downhill.
So with the legend of this race out, the battle for the 2018 title came down to a fight between Wade Young, Manuel Lettenbichler and Johnny Walker. Wade claimed a close stage victory over Manuel. Johnny came home in third but lost time. The final stage was now set for a showdown between Young and Lettenbichler.
I got a 4-minute lead going into the last day. It's not much and I know it's not over, so I just arrived to the finish in one piece with no mistakes.
On the final stage, Wade and Manuel gave it their all, and they were neck and neck after the service point. During the second half of the stage, Lettenbichler showed his skill on the technical sections. But Wade Young did enough to maintain his overall lead, despite finishing second to his rival on this last stage. The 22-year-old South African became the youngest ever winner of the Romaniacs.
So much adrenaline going from the finish, so I'm not feeling tired at all at the moment, but I work hard and it's finally good to see it pay off. It's a box ticked, you know, it's such a big race. The best of the best are here. There's no one better than these guys that are here this weekend, so I'm so happy to get the win.
Time now for our sporting question. On December the 22nd, 2 exciting boxing fights will take place in Great Britain. In London, Derek Chisora will take on his old foe Dillian Whyte in a heavyweight clash that may see the winner face Anthony Joshua next year. Meanwhile, in Manchester, Carl Frampton challenges Josh Warrington for the IBF featherweight world title. Chisora lost on a split decision to Whyte 2 years ago in an absorbing contest. 34-year-old Chisora is out for revenge, and he looked impressive in his last 2 victories. Del Boy is currently managed by David Hay, the man who beat him in a bad-tempered clash back in 2012. Carl Frampton has recently split with his manager Barry McGuigan, and he is no longer trained by Barry's son, Shane. It was the McGuigans who guided Carl to his first world title in 2014. The Jackal hails from a Protestant area of North Belfast.
It was a working class area, 100% loyalist area. I've seen a lot of trouble, probably things that I shouldn't have seen, but I was no different from all the other kids growing up. It was just the way it was. You're always being told when you go into the boxing club, you know, you're taught about respect and how to treat other people. I think if I wasn't boxing, you never know, but I could have easily get caught up and mixed up with the wrong sort of people.
And boxing is the subject of our question. We'd like you to name the fighter who has won the most world titles in different weight divisions. We'll bring you the answer later in the show.
Aurélien Routons is a free-spirited and adventurous snowboarder. The 38-year-old Frenchman has excelled in both competition on the Freeride World Tour and also in exploration, with numerous first descents to his name.
I have been always not taking too much risk. Even some people can see what I'm doing and say, wow, this guy is too risky. But no, I'm always in a 90-95%. If I start to feeling like, oh my God, that's not good. That means I passed my limit, and I don't like that.
We caught up with Aurélien in the Alps of southeast France.
I'm Aurélien Routons. I'm a freerider professional. I'm living in La Grave, a little town in the Hautes-Alpes, in the southeast of France. Well, I'm just a normal guy, you know, doing his normal life. I mean, woke up in the morning and making the stuff he had to do and he wanted to do. Cannot really describe me. I born in Grenoble, which is not really far. We call it the city of the Alps. How did I end up here is because mostly of my grandmother born here. I am not from a mountain family. I'm from a cyclist family, so at 20 years old, I turned my life, you know. I say, okay, this is not for me. This is for me, the mountain. I will decide to come here and live here. That pretty much changed my life.
As a child, Aurélien regularly went on family ski trips to the surrounding mountains. It wasn't long before he, his father and his cousin hired snowboards for the first time. Aurélien proved a natural on a snowboard. He became hooked on the sport and its lifestyle.
In the first season I was here, I say, wow, that's really what I like to do. Being in the mountain, being a snowboarder pro. Not to be a famous guy or to be rich, just to be in the mountain all year long, you know, making my life. I started a bit with freestyle, not too much, but a bit of freestyle, mostly halfpipe. Exactly, I was doing a lot of halfpipe, and then I broke my knee, I broke the ligament, and that's when I really decided to completely turn myself to the freeride. The big choice I made to be a professional snowboarder is one day I say, okay, I stop working. So that's what I done. For like 4 years, I think was pretty hard. I was cleaning the toilets, you know. For like 2 years, I've been the first guy riding the slope every day of the winter. To get to the star, you have to clean the toilets. I like the metaphor, you know.
Le Grave is an off-piste paradise. When he's not travelling the world competing, Aurélien is here honing his skills, and he's always on the lookout for new trails.
La Grave is pretty famous for the extreme skis, which is the main part at the end. It's the only place we have no piste, no bumping in the morning, you know. If it's dangerous, it's just closed. So it's kind of unique. Here we are in a kind of secret spot of La Grave. No, we don't really like to talk about names and stuff, you know. We just want to preserve some line for us, you know. Some powder turn. So now we are going to the rappel. So it's kind of a sketchy place. You don't have to fall, you know. You really have to care until you arrive to the point. Then you can secure yourself.
Le Grave is a very special part of the Alps, treasured by free riders. Aurélien has been exploring the area here for years, looking for new lines to ride.
Huh? Yeah, see you in the coffee.
Any new lines that haven't been ridden before are a joy to find, but careful preparation must be taken. One of the best moments of Aurelien's career came when he finally made his own first descent of Le Grave's Voie Ginelle-Pinard.
When you're dreaming for like 10 years about doing something, when you realize it's really strong. Huh? It's really, really strong. I think it's the first and last time I ever cried in the mountain, you know? Because that was the real dream come true. I was really feeling more stuff doing that line than maybe all my career in Freeride World Tour.
Aurélien Routons is fortunate enough to have made his hobby his job, and he savours every moment that he's out here on the mountain doing what he loves.
Liverpool in England was the host city of the 2018 Timber Sports World Championships. In front of 3,000 fans, some of the planet's finest lumberjacks were hoping to dethrone defending champions New Zealand in the team event and Kiwi cutter Jason Wynyard in the individual competition. Competitors from 16 countries faced off in 6 disciplines, with the springboard and hot saw the 2 editions for the one-man event. Timber sports date back to the late 19th century, when the first wood-chopping World Championships took place in the Australian state of Tasmania. 12 men were vying for the individual world title. For Australia's Lawrence O'Toole, the night started out well with a good result in the underhand chop discipline, but a low score in the stock saw pushed him back down the overall standings. However, the 36-year-old went on to excel in the single buck and springboard. A fan favourite, the springboard sees choppers use 2 boards to ascend the 9-foot log before cutting off the top. Lawrence O'Toole finished on 69 points in the final round to claim his first ever world title.
Pretty happy with how it went. I'd like to thank everyone back home for helping me out. Back in Australia, also all my mates in America, and especially my dad for coming over here and supporting me too. The win in the single buck was probably what won me the World Championship in the end, and you know, that's a real credit to JP Mercier for my saw, and thank him a lot for that.
O'Toole was back to help Australia in the final of the team event when they took on the United States. The relay event is made up of 4 disciplines: stock saw, underhand chop, single buck and standing block chop. Following their disappointing 5th place finish in 2017, the Americans were eager to make amends at this year's edition of the Championships. But Australia were just too good as they closed in on a 5th world title. The Chopperoos raced to victory, setting a new world record time in the process.
It's unbelievable, you know, it doesn't get much better than that, so just like to thank Still and Still Timber Sports Association in general. You know, it's been a great training camp and lead up to it, and congratulate all the boys who've done a top job, and thanks Movember for their support also. You know, we made a small mistake last year and had to settle for the bronze, which everyone was really hungry to come back for the gold, so it's a good night, you know, tight-knit group of blokes, and we just, yeah, really want to do it for each other and for the country, so it's great, unbelievable to come out on top.
Time now for My Other Love. Daria Klishina is one of the world's most recognizable track and field athletes. The 27-year-old long jumper has won 2 European indoor titles. And in 2017, she won her first global medal with silver at the World Championships. Since the 2016 Olympics, the Florida-based Russian has been competing as an authorized neutral athlete because Russian athletes have been banned from international competition. Outside of sport, the 5'11" athlete has always loved stepping into the world of fashion. A day in front of the cameras is now the norm for Daria.
I really love this process because for so much of my time I'm sweating and wearing sportswear. So it is really nice to have my makeup done and to dress up. It makes a change from when I'm at the track being an athlete. It's also a nice distraction from athletics. It makes me think about something else sometimes, which for me is a good thing.
Daria is just as much at home on the catwalk runway as she is on the long jump runway.
The clothes that I have been modelling today suit my style perfectly. I love wearing dresses. If I could go to the track in a dress or a skirt, I would. But unfortunately, it's not possible. So I make the most of times like this, when I can be super glamorous.
You've got 20 seconds, don't get caught, don't step outside the arena.
Whether you chase or you evade, you have to adapt and you pull out some move from the future.
It becomes such an exciting thing when you're trying to run away from someone and you've got someone on your heels.
You pull out a move that you didn't even dream about doing.
World Chase Tag has become one of the largest viewed sporting phenomenons on social media, having racked up well over 150 million views across various outlets.
So Chase Tag is basically the old playground game where you got to run around and try run away from people or catch people, which is ultimately like our natural instinct is either fight or flight.
The appeal of Chase Tag is universal, but it wasn't until Christian Deveau began to see an area in which the game could be developed that it turned into a worldwide hit.
Just started in the garden with myself and my son playing, and then we started to make obstacles as the game progressed. And the obstacles went from literally like a couple of bins and a bench to some barrier tape around trees that we used to do in the park.
Christian brought in his brother Damien, and the two created a course from scaffolding. They invited parkour athletes to try it out.
We had our first competition. Once parkour athletes started to see the sort of court that we created, they really wanted to get involved. And it's just sort of snowballed from there, really.
We travelled to North London for this year's World Championship, which featured teams from 5 nations: USA, Germany, Japan, France and Great Britain. Captain of the French team, Ape Escape, was Valentin Dubois.
Me, I'm a parkour athlete. I do parkour competitions sometimes, and it's mostly just me against the other. But this time it's like I have a team and we count on one another, and it's a very different dynamic. And I love all these ideas about it. And it's very visually beautiful, visually very appealing.
Teams went head-to-head, with each side fielding either a chaser or an evader. There were 15 chases and each had a time limit of 20 seconds. A winner-stays-on rule applied. If the chaser caught the evader, they then became the evader. However, a point was only scored when a successful evasion occurred.
Tavon starts off under the mountain, goes into the centre of the court, round by the ridge, and he goes round by the loading bay, doubles back on himself, back under the ridge, round by the front line. Oh, and he gets away from him, that was close. Over the sisters. Ah, this is looking good, into the centre of the court. 14 seconds, 15 seconds. Over the mountain, doubles back, that was very, very close. Into centre court again, and that's the evasion!
Yes! Nice, Tavon, nice.
First chase for the boys, and they get an evasion. First time evading, nice, nice one.
Simple rules, a mobile course, and with enough interest online, this sport has ambitions to grow into a global series.
Ultimately, we would like to take it to as big as it can go. Our sort of mission statement is we want to see the best people chase, right? So for us, we want to put on bigger events. We want to reach the stage where we get this kind of exposure where the athletes themselves can get their own sponsorships.
Parkour was first developed in France by a group of friends. A founding member of the group was Sébastien Foucan. His philosophy has always been about enjoying the activity and never taking it too seriously. He later went on to develop free running. Yet the emergence of competition within the two has always left the 43-year-old with mixed feelings. But having witnessed firsthand World Chase Tag, the Frenchman has a genuine affection for it.
I knew one day it would come. I think competition is inevitable. I've always been like kind of someone who say like I'm against competition, but for me this one is the best form of what we can call competition. Because for me, I see it as an art form, and it's more playfulness, and it's something also I teach. When I teach the warm-up, all my students they play tag, so we play tag. Now it's become a competition. The most important for me is the activity and how it brings people together.
At this year's World Champs, US team The Boys were eliminated early, but they enjoyed the experience here.
I really fell in love with it. I was like, man, dude, I have to be in that. It looks like a hugely insane event, and I gotta be a part of it. And dude, I was right. This is absolutely insane. It's madness.
Andy's a powerhouse, not letting his speed go. He missed it for him.
After a competitive evening of chases, it was the two UK-based teams that were left to battle it out in the final. Marrero Gang in blue versus Ugin in green.
Bus is making a must. Look at him. 5 seconds left. He goes around. Oh my gosh, he's trying to chase him. Whoa, Andy is quick like lightning. He's not going to be caught.
It was a close encounter, but eventually it was Marrero Gang's experience which proved decisive.
Opening up some Marrero distance. Some of that Marrero distance. Alex is trying to move. Richard's trying to catch him. Alex will not be tamed. Look at that nice leap. It's an evasion. David, get out of that corner. He falls. It's a tie. Real close. Marrero Gang have won 3 times in a row. World Chase Tag champion. Who's the best of World Chase Tag?
That's it, we've got the 3 in a row. I couldn't be prouder of my team. They've all done so well tonight. We put a lot of work into this one. We did a lot of training. And I think that's it. The more experience you build up on the court, the easier and the more comfortable you are on the court. And I think that's when you can make an evasion. That's when you can get away.
World Chase Tag, coming soon to a town near you.
Having that buzz around the training ground every day, the competitiveness of training, that's the one big thing I maybe look back now, and that's what I really miss when I have come to the end of my career, without doubt. When you have a certain event or a specific event that you're training for, it gives you that little bit of a goal to maybe target, or gives you that bit of a buzz again around that competitiveness. That's what I do miss.
During his football career, Kevin Kilbane played for 4 English Premier League teams, most notably Everton. He was also capped by the Republic of Ireland 110 times. Now enjoying retirement, he recently returned to his family's home county of Mayo in Ireland to compete in Westport's gruelling Sea to Summit race. The first half of the challenge started with a 4-kilometre run before an 8-kilometre bike ride. After the cycling stage was a 1.5-kilometre mountain climb up Croagh Patrick.
There's a little bit of trepidation on the mountain. I had a trial run with my brother this week when we came out. We went up and had a look around just to get used to the surroundings again. I think when you stand at the bottom and you look up and you realise how high you've got to go, it is very daunting, very tiring, heavy on the legs.
Once the climb was completed, Kilbane had to return back down the mountain and onto his bike to cycle for a further 11 kilometres. The challenge ended with a 4K run. Sea to Summit attracted both elite and amateur competitors, all with different motivations. Kevin Kilbane was raising money and awareness for charity.
We've got two charities involved. One of them is the John Giles Foundation. He's one of the most famous Irish footballers of all time. He set up a foundation a few years ago which is basically about helping grassroots football, supplying kit, supplying all sorts of equipment, balls, goalposts, etc. So Johnny's done wonderful things along with the FAI over here, along with Pat Duffy, who is the chairman of the John Giles Foundation.
There's a good feel factor. People are getting up in the morning, going out, you know, you're feeling a lot better because you're training for it, you're losing a bit of weight, you know. So, I mean, that part of it, I think is fantastic. Of course, the elite athletes, there's always going to be, you know, they're the supreme athletes and good luck to them. But then you have a lot of people like myself, right, who's doing it for personal reasons, and it's been fantastic for me, to be honest with you.
He'll walk part of the event along with a lot of others, again, up and down the mountain, getting on the bike, and it's practicing a healthy lifestyle. And Pat's certainly an inspiration to a lot of people. He'll get the loudest cheer when he crosses the line tomorrow. The other charity that I'm actually over for is Down Syndrome Centre, which is a Dublin-based charity. My daughter has Down syndrome, so when she was born, I got involved with Down Syndrome Ireland, and it aids and assists people with Down syndrome all across Ireland, not just people with Down syndrome, but the families as well. So it does a great job, fabulous job up and down Ireland.
When race day arrived, the competitors flocked to the start line. Some approached with nerves, others with excitement. For Kevin, a familiar feeling was coming back.
A little bit nervous now, I've got to say that. It's been a bit of rushing around, trying to get down to transition points, making sure bikes are in the right place with the number and everything. This is the only thing that can replicate any sort of like match day or whatever it would be, these sort of events. So when you do them, you come out and you get that buzz, that little bit of nervousness and that little bit of tightness in your gut, yeah. But the buzz around this town for the whole day now will be magic.
For Kevin, there was more motivation than just beating his previous time. His brother Farrell was competing too, and that added some spice to the race. After a tough test, 41-year-old Kilbane was satisfied with his achievement at the finish line.
The mountain killed me off again this year, cramped up badly, twice on the bike, terrible, yeah. But it was good to get finished. Once you cross that line and you get the reality hits you a little bit that you finish, it's nice, yeah.
You just can't get a rhythm. It's tough on the back, it's tough all around.
It's the weather as well today didn't help, so it's a lot slippier, a lot more treacherous there going up and down it, so that was the worst thing about it. So anyone that's getting decent times, to credit them because of how treacherous the mountain was.
It was soon time to reflect on a successful event for the charities.
Just €1 would go to a great cause, that goes without saying, but I think we're looking in excess of €20,000 that's being raised, and that's a credit to everyone taking part. There's a lot of people running for personal reasons, there's a lot of people running you know, for fitness regimes, to keep fit, all them sort of things, but I think most of the competitors here are running for the fun of it, for the joy of it, and to raise some funds, and that's what it's all about, I feel, coming up here.
Now for the answer to our sporting question. Earlier, we asked you which boxer has won the most world titles in different weight divisions. The answer is Filipino legend Manny Pacquiao with 8. Pac-Man was born to a poverty-stricken family in the Philippines in 1978. He ran away from home as a teenager after his father allegedly ate the family's pet dog due to extreme hunger. Pacquiao turned to boxing as a means of getting off the streets. He turned professional in 1995, aged 16, and won his first world title at flyweight in 1998. He then progressed up the divisions, defeating all comers, eventually winning a super welterweight belt in 2010. The 39-year-old has earned over $500 million from his sport.
The waters of Victoria on the west coast of Canada was the location for this year's Coastal Rowing World Championships.
You really need to have like a 360 view of what's going on around you. Like, when's the next buoy? When am I making that turn? You need all of your senses.
You don't know what to expect. Conditions can change at the snap of a finger, and you really just have to roll with it. You can get hit by a random wave. You can have an animal pop up in front of you. You know, a seal, a turtle, a shark. You just have to be able to adapt to whatever the environment throws at you.
You can row really well and be really fit and really strong, but if you mess up the start and you mess up the turns and you don't interact with the other boats well, you won't necessarily win.
Every race is different. It can be flat water and it can be a lot of waves, and you have to be prepared for everything.
You can show how strong you are, but you can also show how smart you are. And in flat water rowing, you can be really smart, but nobody cares. You also have to interact with the other crews. It's more like boxing. They have a plan as well.
Exciting. Yeah, exciting. Chaotic. Unpredictable. Unpredictable.
Coastal rowing takes place on seas. Due to the conditions encountered, the boats are wider and more robust than those used on rivers and lakes. The 2018 World Championships featured a 6-kilometre course. There were 5 turning points, and these markers were often where the races were won and lost. Surrounded by a network of islands, the course may have lacked mighty swells, but it demanded excellent navigation skills.
Currents are huge in a race like this. The heats with more currents, it can throw your line. You know, you can definitely, like, I'm going straight, and yet the current will pull you that way. And if there's really any wind going against this current, it just gets nasty.
Some 400 rowers from over 40 countries took part in the event.
You see so many different people win this. Right, you don't see like the dynasty of, you know, this guy's gonna win, right? Because it's like, well, one course is gonna favor somebody way more than another. You know, a flat water course like this is gonna favor, you know, the big, strong, fast guys, where if it was a stormy, wavy, it would favor the more pure coastal rowers who are used to that.
It's a permanent battle against the elements, because the sea is always there. Every time we row in different conditions, you never know what type of waters you'll face. Here, the sea is cold, so it feels harder to row on.
There were 7 different boat classes competing here in Victoria. In the final of the women's solo category, Diana Dimchenko of Ukraine went into the race as the defending champion. The 29-year-old excels on coastal and flat waters. She claimed bronze at the European Rowing Championships earlier this year. Also making it through to the final was Yannick van der Meulen of the Netherlands. The Dutch rower was outstanding in qualifying. France's Edwige Alfred is a veteran of coastal rowing, and the 39-year-old took bronze at last year's World Championships. So now, let's join the action.
The coastal women's solos lining up to take on the 6-kilometre course. A really tricky start for most of these solo scullers, challenging boats to set level as they come off the start. It's really quick, and it's the Netherlands, it's Van der Meulen of the Netherlands that leads the pack early on, but it's Diana Dimchenko from the Ukraine that cruises ahead. We've seen her speed in the earlier rounds, and she is a really dominant performer out here on the water. She's an exceptional sculler when it comes to river and lake rowing. She's got experience in the Olympic class events, and she's now translating that through with her boatmanship round the turn in into the coastal women's solos. Disaster there struck for the silver medal position. The Netherlands, Van der Meulen just losing her blade, and that's allowed Diana Dimchenko just to continue rowing away, and it's also allowed some of the pack to come round Van der Meulen. So it's Dimchenko not being fussed at all by what's going on behind her. Van der Meulen now rowing around the outside of France 1, France 2, Sweden, all involved in that pack there that's chasing the Ukraine round turning point 5. Van der Meulen takes the turn first off out of that chasing pack behind the Ukraine in silver medal position, and it's Jessica Barra of France that comes round the green buoy in bronze medal position, just ahead of Alfred, her fellow competitor from France. But what a stunning scull here, and a quick turn around there from Dimchenko just to see where she is in relation to the bank. She's heading towards the line. She's got 500 meters to go. We're riding with the Netherlands in silver medal position ahead of France 2. But a stunning victory there for the Ukraine ahead of Netherlands in silver and France 2 in bronze.
Eduardo Linares of Peru was the big favourite going into the final of the men's solo class. Despite being on the podium a number of times over the years, he was looking for his first world title. Linares was up against Ben Booth of America, who was also expected to do well. Let's see how they got on.
Lining up now the coastal men's solo sculls for this A final to determine who's going to be the world champion here in Victoria in 2018. And ones to watch, we've got the reigning champion from last year, Martini of Italy, in the centre of the course, and he gets out to a good start alongside Sweden's Gustafsson and Linares of Peru. But it is the Italian, the reigning champion, that goes into turning point 1 with a commanding lead of a length, and a bit of a clash there, unfortunately, between Gustafsson and Wiechert of Germany, and that's allowed Peru to slip in on the inside of turning point 1, and he's now sculling away from the current world title holder. Really long and strong for Peru as they head down that 1.9 kilometre stretch towards turning point 3. It's a long slog, and you can see the distance there that he's got on the rest of the field. It's going to be Wiechert. He was involved in that clash earlier, and he's managed to get himself back up the field. He's overtaken Martini of Italy around that bend, and he's now just trying to put some distance between himself and the Italian. Really spreading now as we head towards the double buoyed turning point at turning point 4. That signifies 1,300 meters left to go of this grueling 6-kilometer course. And it is still Peru clinging on to that gold medal position, and Wiechert now chasing really hard to try and get himself back into contention for the title. But it's just too late now. We're round turning point 5. We've only got one more turn to go, and Peru looking really solid for this title here in the solo scull. And as he takes the final buoy, just a slight clip on his starboard blade, but it's 500 meters left to row for him in order to get that gold medal in emphatic style. It's Linares of Peru that will take the gold medal in the men's solo sculls. In the silver medal position, Lars Wiechert, and in bronze, Martini of Italy.
Now to the women's coxed quadruple sculls category, and it was the Russian team who were the most impressive in qualifying for the final. Looking to give the Russia team a tough race was Spain 1, although would the cold conditions hamper their style? It's back to the action.
I look forward to these women's cox quadruple sculls that's so furious and noisy off the start. The cox's job to guide them safely towards turning point 1, 1.4 kilometres in the distance. And it's a tightly packed field, which Spain 1 have had the guts to go out and try and lead this very experienced Russian crew. Very brave of them, as I say, as this Russian crew, the elite quad that came 6th at the European Championships this year, they cruise around around turning point 1 with no issues whatsoever, but there are some issues going on later back in the pack. Right angles at boats. The Coxes will be trying to communicate with one another, and out at the front of the field now, away from all of that carnage, are certainly the Russian crew. You can just see how relaxed they are as they come past that furthest turning point buoy. They've taken it nice and wide so that they continue rowing with both blades. We've got the Spanish sitting in silver medal position from Alicante. They've come here and they're such an outgoing group of girls. They're really sad that they've not seen any whales yet here on their trip to Victoria, and they perhaps won't be enjoying these conditions as much as the conditions they're used to at home. They love a bit of choppy water. You could see there Monaco back in bronze medal position as we approach turning point 5. You can see the Russians now coming in towards the finish line. This really is a demonstration of how to scull. Coastal rowing, not perhaps known in Russia too much. They train out of St. Petersburg, but it's not very well established. So they've come here to give it a go. They've certainly given it a very good go as they are in the gold medal position. No one else around them, oceans of clear water. And the victors in this women's quadruple coastal sculls. Silver to Spain 1 and bronze to Monaco.
In the men's quadruple sculls, Italy had a crew loaded with flatwater world champions, and they were out to prove that they could succeed in coastal rowing too. Monaco has a rich history in coastal sculling, and their team won this title back in 2015. The current squad were highly motivated to emulate that crew of the past.
Lining up with the men's coastal cox quads, and we're off the start there, riding with the crews. Very intense, very loud in these coxed quadruple sculls. Lots of action going on, and it's the Italians that move through the noise to put themselves at the front of the field. Lots of experience in this Italian crew. 3 out of the 5 crew that won last year, the reigning world champions in this event, back to defend their title. And they've got a great line coming into turning point 1. They've got no crews around them to bother them. But look at that, there's so many boats here out on the water, and this turning point sandwiches them all together. It's Monaco then that step on out of the crews that gathered at turning point 1. Monaco back here again from last year, the new 2-man into the crew, Matteo Monford, and they're now cruising in silver medal position, which is far better than their 6th place finish last year. They'll be delighted to be sat there as they come around turning point 4, and back in 3rd, it's the French crew just holding on to that bronze medal position. But you can just see how dominant the Italians really are, a smattering of world championship medals in this crew, and as they turn into the final 500 meters, it's so relaxed there from Italy 1. They've got a really nice line into the finish, no one else to bother them whatsoever. But Monaco, what a sprint from them, the fastest moving crew on the water. They've really upped it for the sprint to try and push themselves as close to the winners as possible, but it's just an absolutely emphatic win there for the Italians. They're delighted to get the gold medal once again in this coastal men's event, and a celebration there from Monaco, from Maxime Mallet. It's Italy in gold, Monaco with silver, and France in bronze.
That's all for this week on Trans World Sport. See you next time.